Tonight marks 15 years since a huge wall of fire impacted Canberra suburbs with deadly and damaging fury. The disaster changed our city forever and delivered major lessons. On this anniversary, Win News brings you this special extended report, including warnings it could happen again.
January 18, 2003, day turned to night, the darkness interrupted only by the glow of flames.
Sam, this is a rare situation. We need some pumpers here urgently.
As the capital faced its greatest ever natural disaster, which would go on to claim 4 lives and nearly 500 homes.
It was like, coming into a war zone. Even though it was still the middle of the afternoon, it was black and it was dark. And it was hot and it was windy.
As the thousands of ACT residents forced from their homes bunkered down in evacuation centres on that fateful day, brave firefighters faced an uphill battle.
I have flame height probably over 100 feet on Warragamba Drive, impacting houses over.
4 bushfires burning in the Brindabella Mountains for more than a week had combined and roared into the southwest suburbs.
Sam, I've got numerous houses alight here. Get me some more help, please.
The whole experience made me realise that life is unpredictable. And even though you think everything is safe and we think we have control over our lives and over the environment we live in, we really don't.
From the outset, Win News has followed the journey of those affected, including a young cyclist, Carolyn Buchanan, and her family, who lost their Duffy home.
Sudden, he jumped off into the garden screaming, "Get out, get out."
And clearly, it was life and death situation because it was going to go across the suburb.
World champion marathon runner Rob D. Costella's property in Chapman also went up in flames. He says the torment of that loss has never left him.
You go from having a beautiful house full of all sorts of possessions and all sorts of memories to just being a pile of ash and ruin.
And like many in our community, Brindabella farmer Wayne West feels strong emotions, even 15 years on from the disaster.
I'd be feeling it still today, one way or the other. That memory, I think the people in Canberra, that memory wouldn't go out of their mind.
Before the fire was even out, there was criticism of how it was handled and how our fireys were resourced and managed.
We never had the resources to deal with it. We were always going to be overwhelmed.
It's gross, negligent, total mismanagement. It's the biggest stuff-up in the history of the ACT.
Wayne was so incensed by what happened that he and other landholders took their grievances to court, according to him, in search of answers and accountability. Their bid for compensation from the state of New South Wales, which was found to have adopted inadequate and defective strategies to fight the fires before they entered the ACT, was later rejected.
If we don't look at what the filings were in 2003, properly and openly, I really question whether we have taken the appropriate action.
An inquiry exposed major deficiencies within the ACT's emergency services organisations, while a highly critical coronial inquest also found it was a miracle that no more than 4 people died.
The ACT government did subject itself to a very broad review through the coronial process and through the independent investigation.
This fire prompted a major shake-up of emergency management in the ACT, including the creation of new ESA headquarters, a new heli base and choppers, a new training centre and new fire stations, as well as upgrades to radio communications and an expansion of brigades. There's been plenty more changes behind the scenes, including better cooperation with New South Wales and improved mapping of the bushfire danger zone.
We'll continue to make sure we continue to learn lessons, not only from 15 years ago, but from what's happened in more recent times.
Even suburban planning has undergone a rethink because of this inferno.
It's clear that we can't have those fuel loads right near the city. We need to be able to treat a bushfire well before it gets anywhere near the city. And of course, that's what we're doing with our new projects and our new policies.
Hopefully signs that the deaths of Dorothy McGrath, Alison Tenner, Douglas Fraser and Peter Brook weren't in vain. While this city still bears the scars of this tragedy, the development of new suburbs, the Arboretum and Stromlo Forest Park, where pine forests once stood, has aided its recovery. One of the biggest fears of current fire service bosses is complacency from the community, the belief that a disaster of this kind could never happen again when it absolutely can.
But even those deep in the suburbs, I mean, there's still ember attack that comes in. There's still going to be the panic that would come with a large fire, and they've got to help with that as well. They're part of our community.
And while undoubtedly vast improvements have been made in the intervening years, there's still a need for everyone to prepare for future fire activity.
They won't get a fire truck in every street or in front of every house when there's a major bushfire, so they need to be prepared, make sure their home's prepared.
Tonight, as we look to the future, it's also important to pay homage to all who saw our city through its darkest days.
They rallied around the communities and the families and the individuals who suffered so much.
Michael Hammond, Win News.